screw the countdown. Good evening. I'm George Harvick, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. We do have snow moving into the state. For some of you, it has already moved in. Let me know if you can hear my heater in the background, by the way. I want to make sure you can't really hear that. Sorry, I had the headset on, so my hair looks like I just got out of bed. I promise I didn't, but it looks like it. Of course, we have snow moving in. I'll talk with you about the latest on that. Go through the model data, time everything out for you. I know there's been a lot of questions on timing, so I want to talk about that a whole lot with everybody. Again, I know there's been a lot of questions on the timing. We'll talk some more about amounts, although, of course, don't expect a whole lot. This is not a major winter storm here by any means. And then we'll talk about maybe some impacts that we can expect to see because of this snowfall. I do expect there might be some hazardous travel conditions very briefly for some folks in the state. We'll talk about where those expected to kind of set up a little bit. Of course, if you would not mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen there. If you would not mind, share this video on your news feed so that way your friends and family can view it, and helps us spread our information out and help us grow a little bit as well. If you're on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe. You guys know all that good stuff. We are streaming on YouTube, Twitter, aka X, and Facebook this evening. So we've got 3 platforms we're going out to. Just kind of testing everything out a little bit. Okay. I'll give it probably 30, 45 more seconds. Let some more folks get in here. I know I went live a little bit early there. So we'll give it a few more seconds before we start diving in and everything. Make sure you say hello as you're coming in. Rick, good evening to you. Sound the alarm for the snow. Maybe not on this one, but yeah, we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. I will be happy when Muhlenberg gets snow. I'm ready for a big one. Hey, listen, I love me some snow. I love me some snow. Ronnie, good evening to you, my friend. Regina says, where in Kentucky? We'll get into that. We just started the broadcast. Let's get a few moments, get folks in here and get them settled in. Flurries at Fort Knox. Thank you, Caleb, for the update there. Yeah, we've already got some snow reaching the ground. The radar is going to show rain when I first pull it up. Sometimes when we have this very wet or very light snow, the radars can still show rain instead of snow. But I am pretty confident that 90% of what we're seeing on the radar is, in fact, snowfall from the temperatures that I'm seeing 5,000 feet up and the temperatures that I'm seeing at the ground here. Katie says, good evening from Bowling Green. Hello from Georgetown. Hey from Cecilia. I love snow. Still didn't get to hunt, but snow will make up for it. Danielle, good evening to you, my friend. Flurries in E-Town at the moment. KG over there on X. Thank you very much for the update there. Bread and milk. Not quite there yet, but I think we'll be there sooner than later. But I'll leave that for the Wintercast video. Will school be affected? We'll talk about those things, of course. All right, let's go ahead and roll into kind of what we're seeing here. Here's a live camera out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. The camera might update or refresh here in a second, so just be patient with that. There it goes. We'll give that a moment to kind of refresh there. Every time I click on the scene, it refreshes. I do that on purpose. That way it doesn't start lagging. And you can see that I'm trying to stall for time here, and it's not really working. Come on, camera. Thank you. There's the camera out of Elizabethtown. I was watching this a little bit ago. I did see some flurries kind of flying around. Looks to be kind of more quiet at the moment. This is on I-65 looking south there. We do have a Western Kentucky camera as well. But Western Kentucky is obviously not seeing any snowfall. But you can see those clouds are starting to move in there. They're starting to look a little bit different now. A little bit of moisture in those clouds that are moving in now. And so we're getting, man, the wind is really rocking outside. That's one thing we didn't talk about a whole lot. With the cold front coming through, as you guys can always pretty much expect, there is going to be quite the wind with it. Okay, here is the live radar right now. Right now, what I have on your screen here is the temperatures across the state. You can see they've gotten a lot different over the last, let's say, ever since about 1 a.m. 1 a.m. is when we actually reached our high for the day, which is not usually how things go. Usually we hit our high for the day somewhere around 2 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we actually have been going downhill on the thermometer for the last several hours. Matter of fact, 16 to 17 hours. You can see it's upper 30s for a lot of folks, maybe a 36-degree marker in Elizabethtown there. Seems to be the coldest one that I see so far. Yeah, so most folks are in the upper 30s. You're going to ask, why is it snowing or how is it snowing? Well, it is below freezing above our heads. And if it's below freezing above our heads, shallow enough, like really just barely above our heads is basically what I'm saying, that snowflake can survive to the ground, albeit that it's not, blistering hot outside. But upper 30s, low 40s, you can absolutely get snowfall to occur. It's nothing abnormal at all. I have to make sure I say it's not abnormal or else people go crazy on me. I also want to show you where the wind direction is coming from here. You can see that a lot of our winds are coming out of the west-northwest. So the winds that you're feeling outside, and you're going to notice they're a bit more bitter. They're actually coming out of our north here. I'm going to get off of that. And you can kind of see just how they're flowing right into Kentucky, all the way from the Canada border. Of course, Lake Michigan up there is responsible for the moisture that's being sent down to our area. So you'll have the moisture coming down from the Great Lakes up here, and then you have your cold air coming in from here. And what that's doing is creating, and you actually have a low pressure off of that. It's riding that same line there. And what that will do is kind of come down into Kentucky, swing, and then go up and out. And what that's going to do is bring some snow, lake effect snow to our area throughout tonight, especially tomorrow. So that's how it's going to kind of pan out there. Let's go to the model data and show you the model data here. And I wanted to show you, why did I have this on national view here? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you just kind of how that low pressure is going to ride to the south here. Low pressure is right in there a little bit, come down into Kentucky, swing on out through Kentucky and out to the eastern seaboard there. Now zooming in a little bit more to the local view here, kind of show you, to kind of time this out a little bit for you. So, is it snowing in Kentucky? Yes, it is snowing in portions of Kentucky. That's one thing I forgot to show you on the radar. Thank you for letting me know. Now, this is going to show up as rain right now, but I can tell you from the reports that we've seen and from some of the observations that we've seen reported through the actual National Weather Service, this is mostly snow that's actually coming down. There is a little bit of rain mixing in that some people are confusing for snowflakes. I think we're kind of wishful thinking a little bit, but nonetheless, by the time that sun fully goes down here in about an hour and a half, if that, this is going to be like 99% snow. So just keep that in mind. Even if it says rain on the radar, this is likely going to be snow. El Gilpin, thank you for your 199 donation on YouTube. I appreciate that. So again, I know this is showing rain right now. Sometimes radar is a little bit slow to catch up to it, but that is going to be mainly snow. Turn that off there real quickly. So just keep that in mind. And this is moving again southeast, if you will, northwestern flow. Going to move these to the southeast, kind of like swing it through Kentucky a little bit. And trust me, folks, there is plenty more behind it. If you go back up here and look to our north, see what's coming down here. Now, not 100% of this is going to survive all the way down here. Probably about 70% of it. And it's going to be a lot lighter in our area than it is going to be up there. But you can see there is plenty more behind it. This is all snowfall. It's kind of all making a straight line down to Kentucky. So it's really a rare thing, more on the rare side. Not completely improbable. We've seen it a few times over the years, but it is a bit more on the rare side. Okay, so that's the radar. Let's go ahead and look at the model data a little bit and time this out for you. So go ahead and advance this on forward. This is actually valid for right now in our area. And you can see it's kind of underwhelming a little bit there. If we actually go check the radar, it's a bit more aggressive. So we already know the precipitation rate, if you will, whether it's snow, rain, whatever, is a bit more aggressive than what the actual model data is showing. Is that a trend that's going to keep up? We don't know. If it is, there may actually be some minor accumulations in more places than we thought. If it's not, well, just what we thought would happen is going to happen. Advance us forward to later tonight. You can see just mainly a couple small snow bands out there. Tonight is not the main show. Okay, keep that in mind. Tonight is not the main show. We're not going to see the main show until tomorrow. Advance us forward to tomorrow. You can see at around sunrise, some of the more of those snow bands begin to get going. And we may actually see some snow squalls as that low pressure gets a little bit closer. The wind gradient is going to tighten it up. It may look like a mini blizzard at times outside. Don't get scared. It's not going to be an actual real blizzard. You're talking about the potential for 25 to 40 mile per hour winds, and you're talking about the potential for some of these small, heavier snow bands. It's going to look like a snow globe outside at times. So don't freak out. It's not anything that we're not expecting. I'm letting you know right now that is a possibility. Okay. Advance this forward. This is valid for around 6 to 8 a.m. Eastern time. So this is the time where a lot of folks are leaving for school, for work. I know a lot of you are in the chat right now are asking, how is school going to look? I think 90+% of those school systems are going to be just fine. Matter of fact, I think a lot of folks are going to be able to go in and out just fine. Again, you got to remember, ground temperatures are in the upper 50s, low 60s. It's going to take a lot of snowfall to overcome those ground temperatures, right? Even though we have temperatures that are going to be crashing to below freezing. And I do think a flash freeze is going to take place. I'll explain that in just a second. Um, I don't foresee a whole lot of school closures. All right. I don't. That's not something we're talking about here. Now out there in Eastern Kentucky for Tuesday morning may be a different story. I'll talk about that soon as well. Advancing this forward, you can see that Monday right around lunchtime, that's going to be where the heaviest snow begins to enter Kentucky. And yes, excuse my language coming up here, but there are going to be some of you that are going to be pissed off if you're a snow lover, because if you look at your screen right now, you'll see that there will be a gap. Okay, there's going to be heavy snow, a gap, and then heavy snow. So that's how it always goes. Now, where this gap exactly sets up, your guess is as good as mine. It's as good as anyone in the National Weather Services. It's a guess, right? Even up there toward the lakes, I read one of the forecast briefings, and it actually said if you could figure out where the heaviest snow band is going to be, your guess is as good as ours. And from the actual National Weather Service, because when you're talking about lake effect snow, some of those gaps and some of those bands can be extremely unpredictable. But yes, there are going to be some people that are going to be gapped and wondering what in the world everyone is talking about, namely Western Kentucky, out there toward Paducah, Mayfield, Henderson, Dawson Springs, places out there in Western Kentucky. You may see a couple of flakes tonight, maybe even tomorrow. But as far as everything else, any real snowfall, you're not going to see any of that. You're going to be wondering what everyone else is talking about. Advance us forward to around the early afternoon hours. Some of those gaps begin to fill in, and you see some of these darker blues in here. Those are some of the snow squalls we're talking about, where you can have some isolated bands of heavier snowfall. Advance us forward around the early afternoon hours, 1 to 3 p.m. A lot of that heavier snowfall is now concentrated in the southeastern corner of the state, Somerset to Berea, Danville, Richmond, Moorhead, out there toward Pikeville. And then eventually that will drop southeast toward the mountains out there in southeastern Kentucky. And by about 4 to 5 p.m., everyone is going to be cleared out. Now, again, the question is going to be on schools. I know I've gotten probably hundreds of messages and comments, and I've already seen quite a few in here tonight of, what are schools going to do? First of all, when schools call me and ask me, I give them our forecast. I don't give them anything more than that because that's not my role to determine whether your kids go to school or get out of school. So don't come to me for that. Now, tomorrow's quite interesting because you do have some heavier snow bands that are going to go along the I-75 corridor right before the time of dismissal. Most schools dismiss somewhere between 2:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time, right? Now, a lot of these heavier snow bands will enter the I-75 corridor right around 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you have an hour or two there for most, maybe even 3 hours of some light to moderate snowfall that, if they come down heavy enough, can create some slick spots. So I do think there is a possible scenario for some school systems out there near the I-75 corridor tomorrow to maybe do an early dismissal. Now, again, you could almost argue that they should wait that out, maybe dismiss a half hour late because it's going to melt quite rapidly. So it's really I don't expect, basically what I'm saying is I don't expect a whole lot of early dismissals or school cancels or school delays. Now, as far as Tuesday morning, I'll show you the snowfall amounts and what we're expecting all that in just a second, but I want to stay on the school topic for a second because I know there's still a lot of people asking about that. So here are our temperatures for Monday, by the way. Your high for Monday is probably not going to leave 34, 35 degrees for almost everyone in the state. And again, if you're down there in the southeastern corner of the state where the elevations are a little bit higher, you're probably not going to leave 29, 30 degrees. All right, so that's problem number one. Problem number two is when we go into Monday night and Tuesday morning, your temperatures this is too high for me. I think this is going to be even lower, especially if we get a little bit of snow on the ground. For example, look out there toward Lexington where it says 26. Now, we do have something to worry about for Tuesday morning, and that is a flash freeze. If we get temperatures, if your temperature goes below 25 degrees, at 25 degrees or below, a flash freeze can occur. What is a flash freeze? A flash freeze is anything that is liquid on the ground will freeze over. It does not matter what the ground temperatures are. It does not matter what the weather has been the last 3 days. It does not matter about anything else. Anything that's wet on the ground will freeze over. So you have a lot of areas that are going to be really close to 25 degrees. Matter of fact, I still think this is too high. Let me go to a different model real quickly. About 40 hours out. That's showing almost the exact same thing. Let's go to the NAM model. We're going to just triple check here. And you can see now that's showing quite a bit colder there. So again, it's going to be really close, but we do have to worry about a flash freeze that could create some slick spots Tuesday morning. Again, I don't know if it's going to be enough to close schools. I know it's not going to be enough to close schools. I don't know if it'll be enough to delay schools. It just, again, depends on if you get a heavier snow band, maybe you get an inch of snow on the ground and it freezes over and you create some delays for Tuesday morning. But by Tuesday morning at around 9 to 10 a.m. or so, everyone will go above freezing. Salt will work just fine. So I don't expect any school closures at all unless someone's feeling real frisky and wants a day off. You may see a few delays Tuesday morning, maybe a few early dismissals Monday afternoon. Other than that, I don't really see a whole lot of any real reason to close schools at all. We're not talking about that type of system at all. So again, just wanted to point that out there. Okay, so snowfall amounts. I know it's what everyone wants to talk about. I did kind of redo our forecast. I didn't change the amounts at all, but I will kind of show you those, and I will show you the model data of totals as well. But we'll do that right after this message from our sponsors real quickly. It only takes 2.5 minutes. So hopefully you stick around and I can answer some of your questions toward the end. See the snowfall amounts for yourself. And maybe you consider support one of our sponsors the way that they support us. Hey, Kentucky and Indiana farmers, storms are coming, but right implements got you covered. From John Deere tractors that plow through the rainstorms to steel blowers that clear the mess, they've got the gear to keep you working when the weather won't. Swing by one of their 15 locations or hit rightimp.com. That's rightimp.com. Right implement, built for the forecast, ready for the field. Are you traveling through Brandenburg or live nearby? Give your pet the royal treatment at Creature Comfort Inn. Family owned and operated since 1997 with clean kennels, daily playtime, and love like home. Their pickup and drop off hours can fit nearly any schedule. And for your first day, if you mention W&K, you get to save 10% off. Creature Comfort Inn, where tails never stop wagging. Call 270-422-1020 or visit creaturecomfortin.com. We all know Kentucky winds are howling, storms are rolling in. Don't let Mother Nature tear down your dreams. At FBI Buildings, they've created tough post frame pole barns, equestrian arenas, and custom storage since 1989 to withstand it all. From Hosville to your backyard, their designs keep you safe and operational, rain or shine. Ready to build strong? Call 270-927-8441 or visit FBIbuildings.com for a free quote. FBI Buildings, engineered for Kentucky tough. Hardin County, when the hell's pounding and winds are raging, your roof doesn't have to take the hit. Hyper Roofing in Elizabethtown is your storm damage pros. They offer fast repairs, full replacements, and new installs with top tier materials. They back it all with industry leading warranties on Owens Corning and GAF systems, plus transparent pricing and free inspections. Don't wait for leaks. Call 270-370-1340 or visit hyperroofing.com today. Hyper Roofing, overbuilt for Kentucky weather. Once Upon a Child values your time and your budget, which is why they're bringing you the best deals on top name brands for kids' clothes, shoes, toys, and baby gear. Whether you're looking to upgrade your kiddo's closet or expand the playroom, Once Upon a Child's got you covered with a huge selection of like new kids stuff. And the best part, it's all priced up to 70% less than retail prices. Save big on kids' clothes, shoes, toys, and gear. Get more for less at Once Upon a Child today in E-Town or on Outer Loop in Louisville. Attention thrift lovers, sweater weather is upon us. Is your wardrobe ready for fall and winter? Don't stress. Plato's Closet Elizabethtown has all the styles you want from the brands you love. Want more good news? Their affordable prices mean you can get more looks for less. So what are you waiting for? Green and I love this place. Go save money on all the hottest fall and winter looks at Plato's Closet. Thank you to our sponsors. I appreciate them a ton. Of course, again, I hope you guys consider supporting them the way that they support us. You know, we can't be here with you 24/7 without them. So thank you again to all of our sponsors. Hope you guys consider shopping at one of their stores or using one of their services or whatever else it might be. Thank you guys again. I appreciate that. So here is our snowfall map. Again, I'm going to show you the actual model data snowfall totals as well. So I'm going to show you it all so you kind of see every single angle here. But I have not changed our snow forecast. I don't see any reason to really do it. The only thing I did was try to make it a little bit easier to read. Now in the future, I'm going to use different colors so it can be easily read. I can see why there was some confusion on this, but I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit for you. So what I did was add numbers to the actual map there and then correlate those numbers to the key over there. So that one zone over there is the light blue area where up to a trace of snow. A trace of snow is any little snow that can be measurable. So it's almost like a dusting. Up to that, expected in that light blue zone, number one. Number two zone, maybe a trace to 1 inch. Now, some of those places down there toward Pineville, Jackson, Somerset, maybe in that little area, could see maybe a smidge over an inch. It won't be a whole lot over an inch. That level 3 zone there, that little darker purple, if you will, is a trace to 2 inches along the eastern border there in the northern tip there. Down here in the far southeastern corner, the far bottom right corner of the state, is that level 4 zone where 2 to 4 inches may occur. And that's simply because of the higher elevations there, where it's going to be a little bit colder. Snow can sneak a little bit easier. So I expect maybe some 2 to 3 inch markers there. Now, I will say this, okay? I will say this. Places like Owensboro, getting close to the western side of Litchfield, western side of Warren County. Some of you have already seen some snowflakes. So, yes, you could argue that the level one zone should have been moved over to the west a little bit. I'm not going to change it at this point. It kind of is what it is. But I don't expect anything measurable out there really for you guys. And I'll also say that if we do get some of those heavier bands that we were talking about, some of these areas may wake up a little bit of a surprise, or may go throughout Monday with a little bit of a surprise, like Lexington, Richmond, Berea, down there in that heart of Eastern Kentucky along the I-75 corridor. Maybe a little bit surprised Monday evening. Again, I can't guarantee that, so that's why we didn't add that into the snow forecast. By the way, I want to say thank you to Chad for the 70 stars. Thank you to my wife, Brianna, for the 100 stars on Facebook. I appreciate that. So, again, that's our snowfall forecast. Has not changed since the last time we posted. Okay, so here's the model data's forecast of snowfall. Now, you have to remember when you're looking at this, 80% of what you see on the screen is going to melt. So, for example, this is trying to show 1.0 inches of snowfall into Lexington. 80% of that gone, may leave about a quarter inch on the ground. So again, you're talking about that trace or dusting of snowfall. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You can see why we have the higher snowfall total in that bottom corner of the state. It's showing 4 inches of snowfall, and up there it's a little bit higher, a little bit colder. More of that's going to be able to stick. So again, just when you're looking at this, just remember, don't see that and say, oh, we can see an inch of snowfall in Lexington. Probably going to mostly melt there. Okay, so that's the HRR model. European model shows it like this. You can see it's very similar, a little bit lighter on amounts. GFS model, very similar, lighter on amounts. NAM3K model, very similar, lighter on amounts. And if you go over here to the RFSA model, a lot more east with it than any of the other models. And again, a little bit lighter on amounts. So the HRR model seems to be the most aggressive model so far. I wanted to see, let me go back a few. I was trying to get the rapid refresh model in here. Let's just go ahead and check that out. Zoom out into the regional view and show you this. This is one of the other good short range models here. And you can see it's very similar to the HRR model. The heaviest amount down there in the bottom right corner of the state. Very light amounts everywhere else. Along the eastern border there, maybe some heavier amounts as well. But again, remember, 70 to 80% of this is going to melt on contact. Okay, so don't look at that and think, oh, I might see 2 inches of snow in Somerset. No, you're probably going to see a half inch. So just keep that in mind. All right. So again, that's why we kind of made our forecast the way that we did, looking a lot like this. I'll get to a few of your questions now, but I don't really expect there to be a whole lot of questions on this because, again, it's a very straightforward event. It's not a very big event at all. But I do want to mention real quickly, turn these warnings back on here. I do want to mention real quickly, there are some special weather statements. Sorry about that. Special weather statements out here for a good chunk of Kentucky. Says periods of snow showers at times this evening through Monday evening. Colder air continues to move into the region today behind a strong cold front as temperatures drop. Scattered rain showers will change over to snow showers this evening. Periods of light snow showers and flurries are expected tonight with just a dusting of accumulation possible. Okay, so that is the special weather statement. Now you can see it almost lines up perfectly with our forecast where a winter weather advisory is out, and that is suggesting that potentially, let's go ahead and read through here. 5 to 10 mile particularly. Yeah, sure. Why? Where is just the amounts that they're expecting? Did they not add this in here? Okay, accumulation around an inch possible. Now I think there might be a little bit more than that in some of the higher elevation areas, but you can see the difference there. Now I know a lot of you are going to ask, and this happens every time because for some reason this office up here in Wilmington likes to feel very special. Um, yes, there absolutely should be either a special weather statement or a continuation slightly of the winter weather advisory for everyone else that's in Kentucky along the northern and eastern border there. That office likes to feel special for whatever reason. This always happens, but just know, yes, you should also be included in that special weather statement or the winter weather advisory in these more northern and eastern areas where currently there is no advisory or statement. So just keep that in mind. I don't know. I don't know why that happens every year. It happens every winter. Every winter. By the way, a lot of this that you're seeing on your radar right now is showing as rain, but I can tell you by a lot of the reports that we're seeing, this is actually a lot of snowfall. Yes, it is most likely that E-Town only gets flurries, maybe a couple of light snow showers tomorrow. Again, remember, folks, the heaviest of the snow will be tomorrow between late morning and around lunchtime. That is when the heaviest of the snowfall will be for a lot of folks. Snowing now in Bardstown, Kentucky. Jeff, thank you for that update out of Bardstown. How much snow is Louisiana, Kentucky supposed to get? I just joined. Maybe a dusting to maybe an inch at the most. What is Louisville, Kentucky getting? Maybe a dusting. Again, that's going to be the same answer for everyone, folks. That's why I'm not really going to answer those too much. This is not a very complex forecast at all. What if we don't have a basement? Then I guess you're screwed, Matt. Going up here toward Megan's comment says schools won't close for snow tomorrow, but possibly temps. I don't think the temperatures are going to be harsh enough to do that. Usually we need the wind chills closer to 0 degrees. The wind chills will be in the upper teens tomorrow. But if I remember correctly, for a lot of school systems, that should not be cold enough to close the schools. Will Frankfurt get snow? Yes. The wind gust will continue tomorrow. What about Bowling Green? Again, maybe a dusting at the most. Mainly just going to be flurries. Same thing for E-Town. We're getting a lot of the same questions here, folks. I'm going to pull up the forecast here once again. Here's the forecast map for you. You can kind of read that, find your area, and read the key right there. You'll be able to answer your own questions. Western Kentucky getting any snow? I don't think that's very likely. This is mainly going to be along the I-65 corridor into Eastern Kentucky, in my opinion. Western Kentucky wants some serious snowfall. Me too. And I'll tell you this. We've been making our wintercast video, hoping to finish it up this week for you guys. If you guys don't know, we do a wintercast video every year that kind of shows what the winter may look like. Now, obviously, it's not 100% accurate. You're talking about challenging me with looking 2, 3, 4 months ahead into the future. But I think we're going to be having a lot of roller coasters this winter. A classic weak La Nina going into an El Nino phase usually results in a lot of roller coasters of temperatures and precipitation type. So I think we have a couple of good snow shots this year and potentially a couple of severe events this winter as well. But again, I think we'll have a lot of people a little bit more happy this winter if you're a snow lover. What about Ronnie? Again, please look at the key there and the map. I will answer your question. Again, for most of you, as you can see, for most of the zones, a dusting is mainly expected at the most, maybe up to an inch. It's really only the far eastern counties where maybe a little bit of some higher accumulations possible. And again, even those dustings are mainly going to be on the grassy areas. I don't think we're talking about any real hazardous road conditions unless you get a couple of nice snow squalls back to back that may briefly interrupt travel conditions, but should quickly melt after it's done. So again, the snow is kind of coming in tonight throughout these waves. I'll show you the radar real quickly again. So I'm going to pull this up here. This is the composite. This is going to look like all rain, but I'll tell you this is all snow pretty much. Maybe not on the far eastern side, but this right here into Indiana going up toward Michigan, that's all snow. That's going to head down to our area overnight tonight. Heaviest snowfall period for everyone, basically going to be from 6 a.m. to about lunchtime tomorrow. Okay, now it's not going to snow that entire time, but that's when the heaviest periods will be off and on, if you will. Yeah, no, this is not a winter storm event. This is not a big event at all. Mainly just going to be some festive snowfall for everyone to look at. May look like a snow globe outside tomorrow at periods because of the wind gusts that we're talking about, 25 to 35 mile per hour. Going to look real cool. Going to be mainly harmless. One of those events where snow lovers love to see it. Snow haters won't really mind it because it's not going to really do a whole lot. Have you seen what other people are talking about at IUP in Michigan? Yeah, that's just bizarre to me. Now it is, I guess, technically happening. But it's more so just a gap in the precipitation because the low pressure is spinning. That's really all it is. It's just I know who you're talking about, I know who posted it, and that's just classic trying to get you to click on a post. There will be low visibility and hazardous road in Louisville, correct? No, again, this is if you get lucky and see a heavier snowburst, may briefly be some hazardous conditions of some low visibility, but that's not a guarantee at all. I think we're trying to make this into a bigger event than what it actually is. We're talking about mainly flurries, maybe a couple of snow squalls for somebody in central and eastern Kentucky. Where they'll set up at, your guess is as good as mine. And at the most, if you see accumulations, it will be a dusting on grassy surfaces. So that's going to do it for us here because I'm not going to get into the amounts for each county here because it's pretty simple. Dusting at most for almost everyone in the state. Western Kentucky, you're not going to see anything. Sorry about your luck there. Far eastern Kentucky and into the mountains there, may see 1 to 2 inches, maybe a spot a little bit above 2 inches. But if that happens, it would be in the far mountains of far southeastern Kentucky. It's all good. No one has to apologize. But again, I don't really see the reason to answer in different counties here because it's going to be the same answer for everybody. All right. I'm George Herbert, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. This is our first snow event, so I understand there's a little bit more hype behind it than it should be. But again, this is going to be more of a festive, cool thing to look at. Don't really expect a whole lot of interruptions to anything when it comes to travel or anything like that. I'll keep you guys updated. We'll do some more radar updates, some more post updates, and of course, I'll post a snowfall map on our page. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok for any more information. Until next time, stay safe, friends.